back to the Parallel Universe. I'm your host, Logan Bruce, and today is Keanu Reeves' day. Well, not really, but we are going to talk about three of his movies that you may not know he was in, first of all, and that they are science fiction. Well, one of them is kind of, sort of, science fiction, but I'll explain that in a minute. But anyway, so what movies do we have coming up for you guys on Keanu Reeves' Day? Well, the first one came out in 1995. Can you believe that? How many years ago was that? Mitchie's in the Square Table Studios with me today, giving me a hand and making sure I say everything that I'm supposed to say. So how long ago was 95, Mitchie? You're better at math than I am. You know, I had to cheat to get out of math. Don't tell my math teacher. 29 years ago was 1995. Can you believe that? That's a long time ago. You weren't even born in 95, were you? No, look at that. Shoot. Well, that's my fault. I should have had her when I was young. But anyway. So anyway. So the first movie we're going to talk about came out in 1995. I wonder if Keanu remembers this movie. In 1995. And the name of the movie was Johnny Mnemonic. Now, according to Wikipedia, this is a cyberpunk action film, which is kind of funny because I don't think I've ever heard a movie described as being a cyberpunk action film. But since that's the way Wikipedia described it, that's what we're going with. Okay, so now it's based on a short story by William Gibson, who wrote it in 1981 as a screenplay, and it was directed by Robert Longo. And this is his, how you say that? Directorial debut. So this was the first movie that Robert Longo directed. So now what was Johnny Mnemonic all about? Well, the film takes place, it's set in the year 2021. You know what, Mitchie? A lot of times movies that were done in the past will always set in the year, you know, like 2021, 2025, 2020. And none, well, I was gonna say none of the stuff that they featured in those movies, you know, were true, but or came true in the year that they did, that they said it would, you know, you could do all these fantastic scientific things. But it's funny, in Johnny Mnemonic, some of the things that they featured in this movie, we actually have now. But anyway, okay, so going back, the film is set in the year 2021. It portrays a dystopian future racked by tech-induced plague. So there's this plague that technology has caused people to get sick because of technology. All the electronics, all the information, all the stuff that's up on the. I think in the movie they actually called it the web. I don't think they called it the internet. I think they called it the web. Because that's about when, you know, the internet was kind of taking off, and that's what everybody called it back then. Called it the World Wide Web, you know. So, so yeah, that's what was taking place, and so you got this virus that was caused by technology, and so what happens is Keanu Reeves, he plays a data courier. So because you can't transmit technology because you know people, you can't trust it. You know, you can't trust sending the information out. People hack it and steal it and stuff like that. Pretty much like today, you know, you got to have all these firewalls and things up to protect the information. So this movie, so there's some truth that happened in this movie. You know, even though it was set in, you know, it was back in '95. So you can't trust, you know, send the information out, you know, because people hack it, steal it, and all of this things. So what you do, you get you a courier, and they download your information into their brain, you know. So that's what Keanu Reeves is doing. He is a courier, and he has got this information in his head. And what happens is, it's from like a pharmaceutical company. They figured out how to cure this plague that is killing mankind. And so now Keanu Reeves has this information, And of course, the pharmaceutical company is coming after him because they don't want the cure out there. They don't want the people to have it, so they're trying to stop him. And he also, you can only download so much information in your brain. So you got to actually get rid of some of your long-term memory. You got to get rid of it in order to upload new information. So if you upload more than what your storage capacity, can handle, the information starts leaking out of your brain. Starts leaking out of your brain, and it'll kill you in 48 hours. So he uploads like 160 gigabytes of information. He only had like 80 gigabytes of storage room. So now he has to get this information out of his head for two reasons. One, because if he doesn't, it's going to kill him. Two, if he doesn't get it out of his head, the criminals are going to kill him, the Yakuza. So, he has a lot of issues going on. So he's definitely trying to get this information out of his head. But don't worry about Keanu because he's got help. He has Miss Diane Meyer. She stars as Joan. She is like a freedom fighter. And also he has Ice-T, who is I think his name was J-Bone in the movie. And, they help him to get this information out of his head and, get free of the Yakuza, and also keep him from having his brain explode from, this disease. Man, so this movie has a lot of, great actors in it. Like I said, we got Keanu Reeves, Diane Mayer, Ice-T. Dina. I'm sorry, I said Diane. Dina Meyer. I'm sorry, Miss Meyer. Dina Meyer. Thank you, Mitchie. See, I told her she was going to keep me straight. And Dolph Lundgren. Y'all might remember him from Rocky 3 as Ivan Drago. So now he's in this movie as the street preacher. He's an assassin. And he has, his body is full of, what's them things called when you get fake implants? But not cybernetics. He has cybernetic implants. So, his whole body is just pretty much he's pretty much a cyborg at this point. He's an assassin for the Yakuza, and so he has a lot of people out trying to get him. And someone else you may know, especially if you're my age, there was a rocker. He was kind of a rocker podcast type guy, even though they weren't called podcasts back then. Henry Rollins was in it as Spider, and what a good movie. The graphics in the movie are wonderful for 1995. I know if you probably watch it now, you might say this movie is crazy and it's stupid or it's cheesy. A lot of cheesy, commentary back and forth. It was a little cheesy, a little bit, but it was good. I enjoyed it. They have a lot of virtual reality in the movie, so a lot of the things that we have now with the visors and the the gloves and everything like that in the virtual world, it was actually portrayed in this movie. So that was a wonderful movie. Johnny Mnemonic. Check it out. Pretty good. Okay, so movie number 2 that Keanu Reeves starred in that you may not know was a scientific or movie was a movie called Chain Reaction. Now, Chain Reaction came out in 1996. It's a sci-fi action thriller, and it was directed by Andrew Davis. Of course, it starred Keanu Reeves, because this is Keanu Reeves Day. Morgan Freeman and Brian Cox, And what is going on in this movie is they have created clean energy. It's a hydrogen-based facility, and they use hydrogen to produce clean energy. And of course, like everything else that happens, when you have clean energy or a way to keep things from happening, people want to shut that down. People don't want that out. So it's so what happens is Keanu Reeves is a machinist. His name is Eddie, and they discover a way to, like I said, create clean energy from hydrogen to convert hydrogen from water, and you get this clean energy, no pollution, no, nothing, and it's free because you convert hydrogen from water. So what a wonderful concept. That's where the scientific part comes in, because at that time, of course, well, I'm going to say that we weren't able to do such a thing, but I think we were. That's why I was in the movie. But that's another story. So Eddie, Keanu Reeves' character, discovers the sound frequency in his home laboratory. Smart guy, to stabilize the process to convert this hydrogen from water. And so the next day, he goes, tell everybody what happened, that he found the breakthrough with the energy and what did I just say? The frequency to stabilize this project. And of course, the bloody thing blows up. Now, why did it blow up? Well, because some people don't want clean energy. They want to keep things the way everything's running. So that's what pretty much happened. And of course, like I said, Morgan Freeman is in this movie, and he is Dr. Paul Shannon, the leader of the project, and he is actually on Keanu Reeves' side, but he also runs a secret project for the government, and they kind of keep things like that under wraps, and it's a good movie. It'll keep you on your toes, or on the edge of your seat, trying to figure out what's going to happen. Oh, I forgot to mention too. It also stars Rachel Weisz. The lady from the Mummy. You know the lady from the Mummy. You don't know.
What lady?
Have you seen the Mummy with Brandon Fraser? You remember his wife in the movie?
Oh, okay.
Her, yeah, she's in it, and so she's actually part of the crew to help bring this clean energy to fruition. And of course, like I said, they blow up the whole place because they don't want this information out. And so now Eddie has been framed, him and Dr. Sinclair, who was played by Rachel Weisz. They get framed for for the explosion and killing the people that were part of the project. So now they are on the run to because the cops are after them, the FBI, all these people are after them because they've been framed for for blowing up this I can't remember how many blocks of in Chicago, but yeah, it was a massive explosion, and so now, like I said, they're on the run, and they got to try to figure out how to clear their names and everything. And of course, that's when Paul Shannon, the Morgan Freeman character, steps in to help clear their name as they're on the run. And it's such a good movie. It's funny because when I first saw this movie, I always saw the end of it, and the FBI, agents were about to track him down, and then and I was like, what in the world has happened in this movie? And I never saw the movie. I could never catch it. Every time I would see it, it was always right in the middle or the end. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Or I would start watching it at the beginning, and then I would have to go somewhere. So and it was just frustrating because I couldn't, see the movie. But finally, I was able to sit down and watch the whole movie, and it's such a great movie. Chain Reaction does another wonderful Keanu Reeves movie. Check that out if you have a chance. But check it out from the beginning all the way to the end. Don't do like I did and start at the end and work my way back. Anyway, Chain Reaction, Keanu Reeves, movie number 2. Here we go. Movie number. Wait. I said movie number 2. Maybe I should have done that backwards. The third movie should have been, what you call it? What was the name of that movie? Johnny Mnemonic. So that was number 3. So number 2, of course, is still, Chain Reaction. See, I messed up, Mitch. I messed up.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Okay, so anyway, because I'm going in descending order, so so no, that's why. Anyway, y'all know what I mean. So my third pick for the movie, of course, was Johnny Mnemonic. My second, Keanu Reeves scientific movie was Chain Reaction, and my number one movie by Keanu Reeves that is science fiction that you may not know was science fiction or that he was in is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Now, what a wonderful movie. What a wonderful movie. It is a sci-fi comedy movie. It was came out in 1989, and of course it starred Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter and George Carlin, who was a comedian. So you got Keanu Reeves, who was Ted Theodore Logan, and Alex Winter, Bill S. Preston Esquire, and together they made Wild Stallions. That was the name of their band. So now, what was this movie about? This movie was about two guys, and what happened with these two guys. Their music in the year, what year was that? 88, I think. Humanity is in this utopia. It's a utopia society, and it's inspired by the music and philosophy of the two great ones. And who are those two great ones? Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan. So those two guys make up the way that their music and their philosophy of how they treated each other. It became the Earth. Human society was a utopia. And it's funny because, Mitch, I don't know because you weren't born, but at some point in time, back then, people were like, be excellent to each other. That's one of the slogans from them. Be righteous. You ain't old enough to understand that kind of stuff. Oh boy, these young people missed out on such a wonderful era. But anyway, so back then, if you like I said, if you're my age, you understand that. Oh, excuse me. That when we be excellent to each other or righteous or all those sayings that we used to have back in the 80s. Those sayings formed this utopian society and Earth in the future, and the music that they played. It's funny because at this point, back in '89, they are horrible musicians. They cannot play music at all. But what happens is Rufus, tasked with by the leaders of the society, travels back to San Dimas, California, in 1988, using a phone booth. You know what a phone booth is?
Yes.
Okay, well, she knows what a phone booth is, y'all. Okay, so if you don't know what a phone booth is, look it up or ask your parents or your grandparents, depending on how old you are. And so he has a time-traveling phone booth. And so he goes back to the past to ensure that Bill and Ted are they're not too smart high school students, successfully pass history. Because if they fail history, they won't graduate high school. And Ted's father, Captain Logan, plans to ship Ted to a military school in Alaska. So if he's sent to Alaska into a military school, then they can't form, Wild Stallions, which brings on this utopian society. So they have to, they have to pass school. They have to graduate in order to have this society, in the future, because the future was threatened because these two guys didn't want to study or not smart enough. So what happens is they go back. Rufus goes back, tells them they need to finish their history report, and what they do, they go and they grab a bunch of people from the past and bring them to the future to understand history. And what happens is they bring all of them to the to their school in San Dimas, and it's funny because they come in there and they kind of travel. They travel into the high school inside of the phone booth. They get in there and they bring all these people from the past. I think they had Joan of Arc, they had Socrates, they had Napoleon. I'm trying to remember who else they might have had. I can't remember. Genghis Khan, I think. They had all these guys from the past, and they bring them to the future, and and then these guys kind of rock out in school for the history report. So of course, by them doing that, they pass their history exam, and they're able to continue to stay together, continue to be the Wild Stallions, continue to grow as musicians, continue to get better, and they form or they have this utopian society in the year 2688 because the Wild Stallions ruled and they were excellent to each other. So, there you go. Keanu Reeves Day, 3 of my favorite movies that Keanu Reeves were in and that you may not have known he was in or that you didn't know if they were science fiction. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know, what other movies that you like Keanu Reeves in. Being that this is Keanu Reeves Day. And of course we didn't talk about The Matrix because everyone knows The Matrix and all the, and everything that happened in that. That was a, pop culture, movie and it's all over the place. So we didn't even talk about that one because we all know, the story behind The Matrix is everyone knows The Matrix. So I want to bring movies that you may not have known that Keanu Reeves was in and that really helped shape his career and really, brought him out as a stand-up, actor and sci-fi action hero, I guess is what you would call it. So anyway, like I said, leave me a message. Let me know what you guys think about Keanu Reeves and his sci-fi adventures. You can follow me on Instagram at Parallel Universe 1974, and you can also shoot me an email at the Parallel Universe 1974 as well. And as always, we will see you in Parallel Universe.